Yeah. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining today. We wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Gaunitai, Srila Prabhupada, and Guru Maharaj, and also the assembled devotees. We'd like to welcome back Jayanti after leave of absence, unauthorized. So, we were thinking of doing the Devatas, but we had a request to if we can do the Sanatan Dharma Course. So this is what I wanted to look at for the next couple of weeks at least. So the idea is, what is Sanatan Dharma? Thing we want to talk about today. What underlies Sanatan Dharma? What are the scriptures? The gods and demigods, how do they fit into Sanatan Dharma? Karma and reincarnation, some of the principles of Sanatan Dharma. Maybe we look at Ayurveda if we get the opportunity. Have another look at the three modes of matrimony, how they govern us. What are the different festivals that are celebrated in Sanatan Dharma? Why do we do Aarti? What's the purpose of doing Aarti? What is Aarti? Why do we offer the different items? If we don't know, how are we going to explain this to the next generation? So we want to understand that. Raising children in Sanatan Dharma. Dasavatars, what are they? Who are they? Das Mahajans, we might look at that. I'm not sure if we will. The 4 yugas and the different types of worship in those yugas. The 9 steps of Bhakti Yoga. Karma, Gyan, Astanga, Bhakti Yoga. So we'll have a look at different yoga systems. What are the common aspects in those systems? What are the differences in those systems? Who are the 7 mothers in Sanatan Dharma, which is quite interesting. It's the samskars, the impressions that are left from the previous lives in early childhood have a big impact on us. So we will have a look at the different samskars that are recommended in the scriptures, Vedic scriptures. We look at the Char Dham. Look at the Char Dham, maybe. Actually, we're going to have a long look at the holy places around Bharat. How many, roughly?
I've got about 32 at the moment. I'm sure there's many more, but
yeah. So that might be just a separate thing. After the Sanatan Dharma course, we'll look at all the different holy places around Bharat. Perhaps focus a little bit more on the south, because that's where we want to plan to go next year, hopefully. Ganga Mata, why is she so important? What is her root? Fasting, what is the benefit of fasting on Ekadasi? Varnashram system, the different social divisions and spiritual divisions. The strength of prayer. We want to look at how to pray, why to pray, when to pray, who to pray to. Look at the different gurus in our life and the etiquette of when we go to the temple, when we visit holy places. What is the etiquette? And very important question about, do we worship the personal form of God or the impersonal form? So there's a lot in Sanatan Dharma. So we'll try to cover, well, I'm not sure if we'll cover all of these items, but we'll definitely try. It might even cover some other items over and above these. But Sanatan Dharma, we have to understand, comes from the Vedic scriptures. And it's very broad, very, very, very broad. Because what Sanatan Dharma does is to not exclude anybody from its ambit. Wherever one is in one's stage of life, Sanatan Dharma will cater for that person, wherever one is. Whether one is very sinful or a wonderful devotee of the Lord, Sanatan Dharma will bring both or all the different categories within its ambit, field of work. So everybody can improve. This is the beauty of Sanatana. What it does, it brings everybody to the next level. Even if one is a pure devotee, Sanatana Dharma will make that person even more pure. Yes, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, welcome Mataji.
Thank you.
Welcome back. And I just wanted to ask you, have we finished with Gita ji?
Yeah, we did the 18 chapters, and then we did all the lessons from the 18 chapters. So now we're thinking of, for the next few weeks, we will look at Sanatan Dharma. This is a course that we devised last year. And, and we wanted to look at all the different elements of Sanatan Dharma.
So did you finish? Yeah. So did you finish yesterday or did you finish Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't join Tuesday. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. So this is new today. Yeah.
It's new. Yeah.
New. Yeah. Yesterday there was no class. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, okay, what is Sanatan Dharma? Right? What is Sanatan Dharma? Actually, Sanatan Dharma is the name of this way of life. It's sometimes people will call it Hinduism. But actually, there's no such word as Hinduism in our holy books. There's no such word as Hindu. It doesn't exist. So none of the Vedic scriptures will contain the word Hindu. So the name of this way of life is not Hinduism, it's Sanatan Dharma. How did this name Hinduism come about? When the Mughal invaders came into Bharat, when they came across the Indus River, and when the Mughals said in, they actually pronounced it Hindu. And everybody below the Indus River became Hindu. This is how the name came about. And the name is stuck. Our Guru Maharaj was very keen not to use the name Hindu, and actually referred to this as Vedic Dharma or Sanatan Dharma. Of course, it makes it a little bit confusing, especially when you go to schools and talk to people who are not so familiar with Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, when you start changing the name. So I just continue to use the word Hindu. But actually, we should understand that Hindu does not exist as a name of this culture, of this tradition, of this way of life. Yes, Rian?
Prabhuji, like my social ma'am told, she told about all the rivers and she told how the Mughals ruled.
Okay.
Today.
History.
Today.
Or today? In history?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anything you want to share about what she said? Okay, we can continue. So I hope that's understandable, that Hinduism does not exist as a name of this religion. It's Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means eternal. Dharma means duty or religion or principles. Dharma has got not really any comparable word in English language. Dharma means basically the essence of something. So, for example, the essence of water is that it quenches thirst. The essence of fire is heat. So the dharma of fire is heat. If there's no heat from fire, then there's no meaning to fire. Similarly, the dharma of water is to quench thirst. If it doesn't quench the thirst, then there's no meaning to water. So our dharma, what is something that is the complete essence of us, is that we are always serving. We are always doing something, either for others, either for our family, our country, our society, our friends, our mother and fathers, or its children. Ultimately, if there's nobody, we'll be serving some dog or cat, having a pet. And even if we don't have any pet, then we'll be serving our senses. So in some way or other, we're always serving. So without the mood of service, there's no meaning to us, the soul. So it's a way of life. It's not a religion. It's not something that you turn on and off. You go to church on Sunday, and then the rest of the week you can do what you want. It's a way of life. We live this dharma. We live it. So it's not a religion. It's a whole existence based on eternal principles. Similarly, India is not known as India, it's known as Bharat. Actually, the original name is Bharat. It's got other names as well, but Bharat is a spiritual name. But when the British invaders ruled India, they called everybody India, or Indians, indigenous people. So actually a derogatory term. If you look around the world, wherever they go, wherever they've gone, Red Indians, you know. West Indies. It's like a very derogatory term. Anyway, so the actual name of the country is Bharat. So this is, again, our Guru Maharaj was very strong on this, that he wanted everybody to know that India is actually known as Bharat. So sometimes we call it Bharat. Calling India doesn't help, because that's just a material name. But you call it Bharat, and you get some spiritual benefit as well. And funny enough, even the newspapers in Pakistan call India Bharat. And our own newspapers, the Hindustani Times or whatever it is, Times of India, they call it India, Times of India. So, and we need to understand that what we're going to look at, the scriptures and the principles, these are historical facts. Some of our own people call it mythology. This is mythology. Well, if you think it's a mythology, then it is for you, but it's not. These are facts that have taken place. Krishna existed. Ramachandra existed. Mahabharata took place. Ramayana took place. So we never fall into the trap of saying this is mythology. Why should we do that? Why should we waste our time? We're not foolish. We're not idiots. We've got some intelligence that we understand this world and what it's made of. So why would we consider something mythology when it's not? And everything we say is based on scripture. Has to be. Otherwise, it is just our own mental concoction. What's the use of that? I think this. Well, who cares what I think? Who cares? But if that I think is based on scriptures and a religious basis, a dharmic basis, then it has some value. Otherwise, there's no value. There's no value to somebody's thinking. I think like this. Well, so what? There can be a million thoughts, even within one's own person, there can be a million thoughts. So what is the value of all these thoughts and thinking? But if there's some scriptural basis of why we're saying what we're saying, that has value. That is why we read the Bhagavad Gita. That is why we study the Bhagavad Gita, try to understand the Bhagavad Gita and apply it in our lives. Because then our lives have some value. So this is very powerful. Very powerful indeed. We have some substance behind us. All right, here it is. This is the substance, Vedic knowledge. It's huge, absolutely huge. There's two types of knowledge. There's Shruti, which is unchangeable, which is eternally the same. It's revealed by the absolute truth. And there's Smriti. Smriti changes according to time and circumstances. Still, religious principles are involved. Vedic Dharma is involved, but it can change according to the situation. Shruti includes the Vedas, Upavedas, the Vedangas. The Vedas, there's 4. Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. And within the Vedas, there are Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aryaka, Aranyaks, Upanishads. So we'll have a brief look at this. Probably not today, but we'll have a brief look at what are the purposes of these different scriptures. Why are they there? And what is contained within them? The Upavedas, they're supplementary to the Vedas. They include Dhanur Veda. The Dhanur is war, right? Warfare. Ayurveda is also included. So different types of knowledge. Ved means knowledge, right? Ved means knowledge. And the Vedangas, they again supplement the Vedas through the Kalpas, the Shiksha, the Vyakarana, the Nirukta, the Chandas, Jyotish. So this area is very, very, very vast. And so is this. So Smriti includes the rituals, sutras, the tantras, the pancharatras, different stories, giving examples through stories, giving instructions through stories. The Puranas, we know the Puranas, right? We know some of them at least. The Shiv Puran, the Bhagavad Puran, which we've studied in detail. Well, not great detail, but some detail. So many Puranas, 18 major, 18 minor. The Itihasas, that includes the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Such instructive pastimes. The 6 darshanas, which includes Vedanta, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Sankhya philosophy. Within the sutras, there's different types of sutras. Within the tantras, there's tantras which are in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Similarly, the Puranas also split into the 3 categories. But the Bhagavad Purana is considered to be the topmost Purana, the unblemished Purana, spotless Purana. So this gives an idea of the whole ambit of Vedic knowledge. It's humongous. There are estimates that there are some 2-3 billion slokas, verses in this Vedic in this Vedic system, and probably I doubt if anybody can read all of that material in one lifetime. Very, very difficult to read that material in one lifetime. If one has managed to read, you probably go mad. So this is why Krishna came to this world. He knew that in Kali Yuga, there's no possibility of anyone accessing the whole ambit of Vedic knowledge. So he summarized it in 589 verses, I think, or something like that. He summarized it within the Bhagavad Gita. The whole of 2 billion verses have been summarized in the Bhagavad Gita. And only Krishna could have spoken the Gita. He couldn't have left it to Balaram or Narad Muni or Vyasdev. No. He had to do it himself, because this is no mean task. To summarize the Vedic system, which contains billions of verses, into just hundreds of verses, is only possible for Swayam Bhagwan Krishna to do. So this is why Bhagavad Gita is considered to be one of the most important scriptures for us. We are very, very fortunate. The summary of the Vedic system is in the Bhagavad Gita. So everything which I've mentioned, including Ayurveda, fits within the Bhagavad Gita system, but within the Bhagavad Gita. So it's very important to study the Gita. Very, very important to study the Gita. Understand the Gita and learn the Gita and apply the Gita into our lives. It's our way of living in this world without being affected by it. So this is important to understand. This is Vedic Dharma. This is Sanatan Dharma. We use those terms interchangeably. It's one and the same thing. Outside of this, it's not knowledge. This is knowledge. Everything outside of this is considered to be avidya. This is vidya, knowledge. And out of this, out of all these scriptures, there's one scripture which is, I've just mentioned it actually. It's the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's one of the Puranas, one of the main 18 Puranas. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is regarded to be even more advanced, if you like, than the Bhagavad Gita. It contains 18,000 verses. And it is not within this world. It's not within the 3 modes of material nature. It's beyond, it's within the spiritual realm. The Bhagavatam, as we like to call it in short, is a scripture which is a natural commentary on the Vedic system, on the Vedic knowledge. But it's not within the realms of this world. It goes even beyond this world. So that's something that we will come across, but it's worth emphasizing this, because that is why we spent a long time going through every single chapter of the Bhagavad Puran. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Because this is a little confusing. It is a little, and it's going to get more confusing, by the way. But are there any questions? Nani Ben.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome, Mataji.
Thank you.
Your seat was empty in your absence.
No, it wasn't.
No.
I was sitting on both.
Yes. One thing is, just for clarification, is, after all this, they say, Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that Vedanta Sutra, he is himself, he is the knowledge. So how has he summarized all this in 589 verses or whatever verses that he spoke?
How exactly? It's inconceivable.
Yeah.
It is. Every word of the Gita is got some special meaning to it. So, and the bhaktas, they read the Bhagavad Gita very, very scrutinizingly, carefully, because it is a summary of the whole Vedic system. And there was one. Sorry. Yes.
No, have you finished with her?
Naniben, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, just wanted to know. So it is, probably beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, that's why only Krishna could do it. There was no one else. Even Balaram would not be able to do.
Even Vyasa could do it.
No, definitely not Vyasa. And Balaram is the first expansion of Krishna. But yet, Krishna himself spoke this himself,
Yeah. At least you shed some light on it. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes, Bhavi?
Yeah. Yes, when you said what did you say? Hinduism.
Yeah, you mean the Indus River, and Hindus are called Hindus because of they can't pronounce the word Hindu?
Yeah. So I'm talking about at present. Everywhere when you go in hospital or you are filling somewhere the form and they ask you your
Hindu.
Ithonic minority, something is called.
Yeah.
And I put down Hindu. So
correct.
Is it worth it or no?
Yeah, because otherwise, how will you understand? My Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, he used to write Sanatan Dharma, Sanatanist.
I did the last consensus.
And Jayanti also is a very awkward person.
I did as well in the last consensus.
She did the same.
So what shall I like in future?
Just stick to Hindu, because it's a little confusing. If you say to somebody, I'm a Sanatan Dharma, Sanatanist, it gets a little confusing, At least Hindu, it sort of gives you the idea that this is the culture from that part of the world, which includes, vegetarianism, karma, reincarnation, Because if we say Sanatanist, then unless you have the time to explain why, it's very difficult.
Very difficult. That's why. And even, like West Indies, people come from West Indies, they write Indians.
Yeah.
So we are not West Indians, are we? We just Hindus.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anyway, thank you. I mean, it's very, very interesting. Today's topic is very interesting. I have to learn 2-3 times, then I will get something in my head.
I think you've understood it well. Thank you. Very good,
Thank
Bob.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Mataji, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Tomorrow we can continue. Let me just have a look. It's quite a wrong presentation. 1 second. So tomorrow, what we're going to do is try to go through the different scriptures, at least as an overview, just to get an idea of what there is. So, for example, we'll talk about the 2 divisions of Shruti and Smriti. Where does Bhagavad Gita fall? And then the 4 Vedas. What is in the 4 Vedas? Why are there different Vedas? And then we look at what are the instructions within the Vedas? Why does it recommend certain things to do, which are not necessarily related to God, right? And one of the things about Vedic scriptures is Krishna is very well hidden. in those scriptures, very hidden. Vishnu is somewhat prominent, but Krishna is completely hidden. And then we look at the different other Shrutis, the Upavedas and the Vedangas, and we'll hopefully also try to look at the Puranas, the Itihasas and different things, if we get a chance. Hopefully we get a chance. But it is interesting to know as an overview all of these, but to study them would be very impractical, because in Kali Yuga we have very little time. That is why we focus on the Bhagavad Gita. Over the last 2.5 years, we've probably read the Gita at least half a dozen times, minimum. I studied the Gita half a dozen times. So that is a book we stick to. But it's good to know what is in the other scriptures. It's just nice to know. Okay, Sanatan Dharma ki jai, Vedic Dharma ki jai. Oops, this side.